Usually creators visualize what they're trying to say using 2D animation, stock videos, or just straight up talking to the camera like this. 2D animation is nice, but the problem with that is I'm not good at drawing.
Not bad, not bad.
With stock videos, I guess it does work, but too much stock videos will ruin the overall originality of my channel. And about using my own camera to talk, it does work, but as you can see, my webcam is not the best in quality. With those options out of the window, you must be assuming I'll just use 3D animations, like how I'm doing right now. Well, that is the approach, but it won't be any normal 3D animation, since 3D animation takes a lot of time to get done, especially if you're doing it for every single explanation. So my take on this problem is to make my very own me. Yeah, that me. Why did I choose me's exactly? Well, for one, they have a simple model, easily customizable, and most importantly, fast to animate. But the me's have two problems. Problem number one, they have elbow joints. You see, in 3D, there's this thing called weight painting. It's a process where you stick your 3D models to the bones. And weight painting near the elbow joints is especially tricky because unlike arms or legs, which moves in one direction most of the time, elbow joints move with a near 360 rotation, so I need to do more work for it to look good on camera. Same thing applies to this joint areas. Problem number two, they have legs. Hear me out on this. Now why legs? Every character ever have legs. Mostly. Well, legs in 3D are the hardest to animate because of one thing called foot planting. Foot planting is an animation term for when the character's feet isn't supposed to move from its pivot before the other leg touches the ground. Because if it does move, it'll give this floating effect that doesn't look good on screen. And in 3D, it's even harder to do since animating the legs perfectly needs tedious correction, and that takes time. But you know what doesn't take time? Clicking on that sub button down there, yeah. So what do I do to fix these problems? Well, the solution is simple, I just delete it. It won't be a problem if it ain't there, right? Right. I get started on drawing the sketches of how it'll look. Using Krita, I draw these 3 sketches. At first I was in on this model, but the more I think about it, the lack of arms would make it hard to convey emotion. And on the second model, the fact that it'll be floating doesn't give off a human vibe. It looks like a sci-fi robot, which is cool, don't get me wrong, but not what I'm aiming for. So I decided to go with the third model. It has arms to convey visual language and is planted to the ground for that human touch. Next, I open up Blender and begin to model the shapes. And done. Yeah, turns out it doesn't take as long as it usually should, since it's just simple cubes and circles. But to be more specific, I use a cube, shape it to a trapezoid, and stretch it up to make it tall. Then I use a sphere as the head, and for the arms, I also use a sphere and stretch the ends to make the hands. I then move on to rigging, where I make the skeleton and weight paint the models on it. And a technical problem came up. I said I would delete the legs, but now the question is, how is it gonna move? I brainstormed, and these are the ideas I came up with. A ball is usually animated with the movement where it thrusts itself upwards and bounces away to its desired location. I used the same technique and implemented onto the character. And voila! The default character is done. But it's naked, so let's add some clothes. I'll be using myself as the reference to make the clothes. Using Blender nodes, I added a cotton texture on the shirt to add some detail. As for the hair, I just duplicated the head and modeled the smooth hair and added this shader I got from a YouTuber. This hair shader is so good. And finally, my version of the Mies is finished. I'ma call it the D's. D. Tell me in the comments, what's lacking with the current model or design? And I want to say that I wouldn't have made the D's if I wasn't curious. So thank you for being curious enough to click on my video. Thank you for watching till the end, and I hope you'll watch my future videos.